Many of you might have seen the set of modular sci-fi terrain I designed based on the game Mass Effect, the Eden Prime colony to be specific. I had a lot of fun making something that worked exactly the way I thought sci-fi terrain should actually work, rather than what's available to buy. If you didn't see the video, why not? Since I created this, I've chatted with many people, and whilst the game Infinity got thrown around a lot, the one thing that got lost in the cacophony of Corvus Belli were magnets. So today I'm going to rectify that with some very simple design tweaks. Welcome back, guys. Now, I'm not a big magnet user. Drilling a million perfect holes in thousands of pieces of terrain and then working out polarity issues before gluing is not my idea of fun. You'll know from the stuff that I do that I prefer friction fits, clip fits or slots to make existing terrain kits work better, because they're quick and just require some additional bits glued on. But I can't be that guy that fixes other kits but won't look objectively at his own designs. So I sat down with all the parts I designed and reviewed them like I would any other terrain. And after talking to a lovely gentleman who's interested in making these commercially, we discussed magnetic modularity for attaching all the parts you might want to swap out. Yes, I said commercially. So hopefully soon you'll be able to buy this terrain as an actual MDF kit to assemble yourself. I'll keep you posted on how that pans out. There are parts in this kit that I designed to pop on and off so you could extend buildings, join buildings, create T-junctions and add doors. So as you'll see here, the original design uses the slots, tabs and holes to allow you to pull off and put on different modular parts. To make this work, I had to add these extra structural supports to hold the panels in place. It was something I wasn't exactly happy with the first time around because it added complexity to the build that I was really trying to avoid. Gluing in those supports was a bit more tedious than I wanted, as they have to be placed very carefully. The addition of magnets to a newly designed part allowed me to totally dispense with all the tabs and slots and complex parts, which makes the build quicker and also gave me a whole load of space to get more parts on a design sprue. And being totally honest, after I added the magnets, I don't really know why I didn't think of this in the first place. I literally had a box of magnets sitting on my desk right next to me while I was designing the terrain. Because I designed this to be made at home on a laser or in card, I had guessed that people would just cut out and glue the parts they wanted, and assemble buildings as they were required for the table you were putting together. It didn't really occur to me that if this was a commercial kit, magnets might be a more suitable solution. Especially for those of us who like one piece of terrain to serve multiple purposes in different games. If you haven't seen me design this kit yet, you can watch it here, or just have a nose through my channel. Not yet though, I'll link it again at the end of the video. After some brow furrowing and chin stroking, it appeared I could tweak almost everything at once by designing one extra piece with magnet holes and then adding corresponding holes to a few other parts. This extra part very simply replaces both ends of a building and has 4 pre-cut holes for 6mm by 3mm magnets. So no more fiddling with those tabs and slots to swap out the building end caps. Effectively, you'd assemble a long or short building exactly as shown in my previous video, but glue these parts on instead. Then you'd add 2 or 4 magnets in the corresponding holes. 2 works great for the most part, but we get some extra mileage out of the kit by using 4, which I'll show you later. As I said, I used 6mm by 3mm neodymium magnets because I found they held much better than the 5mm or smaller ones I had kicking around. They worked, yes, but you couldn't pick up the terrain without it falling apart. Here's the building with the new end piece added. Now you'll notice 2 things. 1, the new end is basically just a duplicate of the part that makes the joiner, this part, and 2, it's got 4 circles cut out with magnets glued in. Once these 2 new end pieces are in place, it has the added benefit that it's so much easier to get a brush or spray inside the building if you paint while assembled. And we can now use these magnets to attach a bunch of other parts. So the first part I modified was the flat end wall, almost identical to how it was before, but with all the tab connectors removed and magnet holes added. I found you only needed 2 on this part for strength. If you put 4 magnets in the end caps, it doesn't matter how you put these in as long as they're diagonally spaced for strength, with the polarity the right way. That part is important. Get the polarity wrong and parts repel each other like a divorced couple at their kid's birthday party. If you put just 2 in the end walls, just make sure these ones match up with what you're magnetizing to. Now the end wall just pops on and off. The second piece I modified wasn't included in the previous video, but was available on Patreon, and it's this end wall with the door. I know I mentioned making a cross section in the other video. Well, this was the solution. This is the part that makes that work. Now you can have doors in all 4 walls if you want. Again, this piece has 4 magnet holes, but I found using just 2 works fine as before. And now this door wall also just pops on and off. The other 2 parts that needed to attach and detach were the building joiner and the right angle joiner. Rather than get repetitive, I modified these 2 parts too with magnet holes, and now these ones can be attached easily as well. The only difference being the joiner has magnets on both sides. So now you can join 2 buildings together with ultimate ease. Drop this joiner on, slide on the second building, voila! 2 joined buildings, perfectly aligned. And of course this works in exactly the same way with the right angle joiner. Quickly pop it on, move it in place to form a T-junction, and it's done. Now, I mentioned earlier that if you put 4 magnets in the end caps of a building, you get an added benefit. It's this. You can actually join buildings together without using the joiner piece. Right, so why do I need the joiner piece, you ask? Well, you don't. Not really. The joiner piece was always designed to create a kind of extra detailing on the kit, breaking the uniformity of the buildings and to look like hab blocks connected with a sort of makeshift airlock. I figured real hab blocks would probably be manufactured in a range of standardized sizes anyway, and these theoretical joiners would be a quick way of connecting them, if we ever make it to another planet. I mean, if I'm still alive, they can always call me. I probably wouldn't recommend MDF to build them though. Nothing stops you from using the previous designs as they work incredibly well for a huge range of buildings. In fact, I'd still recommend them for fully assembled buildings you don't want to change. These additions are just that, additions, not necessarily replacements. There's nothing wrong with the old slot in and out way, as that still works too for people who don't want magnets. But as you remember from the original video, I like many multiples of options in my terrain. Adding these magnets to a few buildings gives you even more flexibility than before, and it lets you quickly swap out bits to build your table. You don't even need to add these to both ends, just add it to one. So now, as you can see, all these parts just pop on and off faster than a catalytic converter being stolen in South London. This lets you put a range of buildings on a table and then decide if you want walls, doors, longer buildings or T-junctions while you're arranging things. Okay, there's the quick update. And as always, many thanks to my patrons who helped make this stuff a reality. And I'm really loving the stuff that you're building out of these kits on Discord. I will of course be adding these files to my Patreon for those who want to experiment with adding magnets. Just remember you'll need 6mm by 3mm magnets to fit in the holes. If you want to watch the original terrain design video, you can watch it here. That's the state of play for today. I'll see you next time.